Hi, my name is Kath Hurley, and I'm going to be talking about the Propeller program at Future Yard for the next 25 minutes or so. Um, One of the reasons why I'm doing this, usually when I'm doing a direct input, I am interviewing somebody that I really want to know loads about. But I want to use this opportunity just to talk about Propeller and Future Yard and some of the changes that we're making, and some really, really exciting developments. If anyone's got any questions or comments or anything, can you whack it in the live chat and not in the comments? And that way I can see it and I can respond to it. If it's anything that's relevant to what I'm talking about, I'll throw it in. And if it's not, and it's something totally oddball, crazy, whatever, something that doesn't really fit in with what we're talking about, but is a really, really valid question about Propeller and Future, then I'll answer it at the end. First of all, I am going to address this uh, thinking that no one knows anything about what I'm talking about. I know that there's obviously people that are already on our Propeller program that are accessing loads of support already, but there's people that are brand new. And there's also people that are accessing support and don't know about other things that they could be doing too. So I'm just going to kind of give a little bit of a descriptor on what we're up to. Future Yard has been part of my life for over half a decade, which is wild. It's absolutely ages. Sometimes it feels like 20 years and sometimes it feels like 6 months. But Propeller is a massive, massive part of that for me and is the reason why I'm at Future Yard. Future Yard started off as a festival in 2019, but the intention of having a space to do really, really exciting things was always there, I think, from very, very early discussions. And my piece of the puzzle of Future Yard has always been supporting local musicians, and Propeller is the vehicle that I do that through. But it all links. It's all part of the same thing. Future Yard's its core business is basically putting artists and bands on stage and putting people in the room to watch them. And Propeller sits alongside that and makes sure that those bands and those artists are supported in however they want to pursue music. If music is the thing that you want to be at the center of your life, and it's performing and it's writing and it's creating, then Propeller is for you, basically. Propeller is a complex beast in the sense that it's just a never-ending program. If you look at talent development programs, there's usually a start date and an end date. It's like you've got access to this support for 3 months, and these are the things that you're going to do in this program within those 3 months. And with Propeller, the start date is when you join, whenever that is. And the end date is when you've had enough of us. And I hope that's never. And I hope that we're able to support you with your musical projects, to just keep going. And as you grow and grow and grow, our Propeller program will grow with you. The reason why that is the case is because before we had Future Yard, when it was before Future Yard, when we were in kind of Bido Lito magazine territory, we did an artist development program called Soundstation, which was indeed a 12-week program where you did some creative development, some industry development, some strategic development. And then it was like at the end of those 12 weeks, it's like, right, see you later. It ends with a performance, and then it's like, right, see you later. And then we start looking at who's next and who does it on the next run. And what we were finding is that when we got to the end of those 3 months, we were just like, we'd only just really got to know people. People had only just got to know us. We were only scratching the surface of what they wanted to achieve and what they wanted to do. And the support that we were offering them was very kind of not one size fits all, but like it was very much as a group. And there was only very, very limited one-to-one sessions. So we knew that we wanted to just kind of work with a cohort. We wanted to just keep on adding to this big group of artists that had come through Soundstation and continue the work, continue supporting them on their journey. And we were looking at how that was going to work. And then I think this was like 2019. And then we also, around the same time, decided that Future Yards was going to happen, and that then Soundstation was going to turn into an artist development project at Future Yards. And then we kind of looked at it through different guises. We obviously had the big fat pandemic right in the middle of it, but then we looked at different guises, and once we were able to open Future Yards and let the public in, that's when Propeller started. And initially, we linked it directly to our rehearsal studios, and we did it as a subscription where you pay a monthly fee. You get access to the rehearsal studios whenever you need to, and you also get all of this amazing support. You get a dedicated mentor, and you get lots of workshops. And the more and more that we got into it, the more that we were just appreciating that not everybody needs to rehearse all of the time, and that we were just missing out on a load of different artists and bands that weren't quite in the position where they were rehearsing regularly, but that would still benefit from all of the mentorship and the workshops. And then we rolled it out again once we got some funding for Future Yards as a whole, and we're able to offer a number of free spaces to artists and bands. And then they got that was, over a time period. And we just wanted to give it to everyone for free. That's just what we wanted to do. We wanted to make sure that everybody that needs to access support in order to help their music projects could get it at Future Yards, that it was just available for all. They could rehearse if they want to rehearse, but they always had access to Propeller, and it's taken us a while to get to that stage. And once we got kind of core funding for Future Yards in place, and we were operating, and business was booming, we were able to do that. So Propeller became an open access, never-ending talent development program for music creators in Liverpool City region. My role at Future Yards has been to basically oversee what we do with tiny little kids right up to adults, looking at Mosh Tots, which is gigs for children, through to New Noise Music Centre, which is for 11 to 16-year-olds, and then through to Propeller. And the more and more that we've been delivering Propeller, we can see that it's a beast, and it needs a lot of attention and a lot of work and a lot of resource. And it's basically a full-time job to do this properly. So now I'm really, really, really excited to share that we're in a position where we can grow our team. And we have hired somebody that's starting in January that's going to take over looking after Mosh Tots and New Noise and loads of other stuff, which focuses all of my attention on the Propeller program and making sure that it does the job that it needs to do, that it is consistent in its offer, and that it is really, really speaking to the way that the music industry is at the moment and how it will be in the future, and supporting music creators to navigate that, but also to be the best versions of themselves as well, to make sure that they're developing creatively, that they are making really, really exciting music, that they've got opportunities to perform that live, and that they have got all of the tools that they need in their toolbox to turn it into a career as well. So that's really, really exciting news. So that's where we're at. We're at that point now where we can throw more resource at the program, and we can widen the offer of what Propeller is, and we can also work with more artists on Propeller too. So that's really, really cool. So that's a bit about the background of how we've got to this point, which has been a journey so far. And I think that, I can speak for the whole team at Future that we're really, really excited about what's to happen in the future. Propeller is still us three mentors. It's myself, Kath, and it's Katie and Grace. And it will be until we need to grow. Once the capacity increases on how many artists and how many bands, how many music creators we're supporting on the program. Once we need to hire more mentors, we'll hire more mentors. We're going to be super choosy on who that is, and make sure that we've got a real complement of skills and experience, so that you've got somebody to speak to no matter what it is that you need support on. So my background is music industry predominantly, working in different roles. Before I moved back up to Liverpool, I was working for Rough Trade Records, and before that was working in marketing and PR, and before that was working as an independent promoter. So I've got a nice selection of all-round knowledge. Katie is an amazing singer-songwriter. Like, she is first and foremost our songwriter in the gang, and is going to be really leading the charge on our creative opportunities and what we do with music creators to help them become themselves, I guess, and to kind of finesse their own styles and crafts and how they kind of put their music together so that they're really, really making exceptional things. And then we've got Grace as well, who has got a real passion for advocating on behalf of artists and music creators. She is Katie and Grace are both musicians. Grace is also a PhD student who is looking at the inequity within the music industry, particularly around gender. And she's not only a session musician, a PhD, but also is just like an absolute doer. She did a year-long task force, a European task force, that is, her project came out of it as a result of that. She's created a platform that acts as a database for European programs and projects and organizations that support gender minorities and marginalized musicians and professionals across Europe. She got sponsorship from SoundCloud in order to do that. And I feel like every time I speak to her, she's in a different country. And Grace is really, really passionate about making sure that all of our Propeller members are registering themselves properly and getting the revenue that their music is creating, and also just looking after themselves, thinking about things from a legal perspective, making sure agreements are in place, that they're ready to, when they're speaking to music industry professionals, to know what they should be asking and know what answers they should be expecting. She's basically the biggest red flag indicator that I've ever met in my life. And, between the three of us, I think we're a really, really good gang, and we're really, really passionate about advocating on behalf of music creators in our region and looking at the way that the music industry structures are working to our favours, but also not. So, there's lots of conversations, particularly now that the government has changed, around how royalties are split, how streaming works, how there's still disparities in the way that music creators from marginalized backgrounds are paid and treated. There's all of these things that we all can represent music creators in our region, and fight for fairer conditions and hopefully more revenue, which is going to mean that people can make more money from their music and turn it into careers and jobs. And I think that was kind of our main goals, really. It's just to make sure that we are assisting music creators across Liverpool City region to be the best versions of themselves, and that we're building a program that does that job, that is that answers the questions that you need answers to, that gives you the support that you need, gives you the knowledge that you need, gives you the advice that you need, and gives you lots of tools and templates and things so that you can go about things in a really, really good way. I'm going to go through the way that Propeller is set up in a minute, but I just wanted to kind of talk about how we are strengthening the program with funding, which has allowed not only me to go full-time into Propeller, but also get Katie more involved as well on a day-to-day, and deliver loads more programming and get loads more guests in. Is basically, this year is the first year that we've had dedicated Propeller funding. The first bit of funding that we got was from PRS Foundation, who we all know and love as being one of the main funders of music creators in the UK music industry. They've also got a talent development network where they work with industry leading talent development organisations from all over the country. By building that network, it means that there's open dialogue and open communication, so that we're all learning best practice and all doing better jobs to support our local music creators. But it also comes with money as well. So we're supported by PRS Foundation's talent development network for the next 3 years, which gives us a really, really lovely amount of security. The lead in charge on PRS Foundation is creating exceptional music. So it is around individuality. It's around multi-disciplines, multi-genres. It doesn't discriminate on the type of music that it supports. It just needs to be good. And it also means that we've got a route into PRS Foundation, and we will be supporting Propeller members with applications for all of the different funds that PRS Foundation has on offer. Myself and Grace have been assessing PRS Foundation funding applications for a good while now. So it's really great that we've now got that association, that partnership with PRS Foundation on Propeller. And it's absolutely amazing. So that was the first one. And the second one is on a much more local level, is that we have now partnered with the Wirral Borough Council on Propeller to provide business support. So if you think about the PRS Foundation funding as being about being the best version of yourself and, creating brilliant music and building audiences from that music, it goes hand in hand with entrepreneur. I can never say it. Entrepreneurship, being an entrepreneur, basically. All musicians are businesses, basically. Like, your band is a business. If you're a solo artist, you're a sole trader, and the way that you earn money from your music is so spread out. It's so intricate, and it will change depending on who you are. So there'll be people that will earn loads of money in one way from their music, and there'll be people that earn more money in another way. And it's about knowing what all of those different revenue streams are and exploiting them so that you can then build a career. And we did a session on this just recently on last Thursday. And we'll be doing them regularly as well, where we look at all the different revenue streams that your money can afford you. And we used to talk about it as 3 pillars. We used to talk about it as your recordings, your songwriting, and then your live. And now we've added an extra pillar into that as well, because you're looking at all of the other ways that you can use your talent and you can use your music to supplement and to bring more money into your business as a musician. And that's what we're really, really going to go in depth on over like the next 5 or 6 months, is all of the business side of things, to make sure that if your music is being heard anywhere outside of your house, that you know that you get a revenue from that. And also how we can increase those revenues. So we'll be doing a lot of like in-depth business support, starting now, basically. And that's thanks to the Wirral Borough Council drawing down money from the government. It's called, I know that nobody gives a shit about where the money comes from, they just want the help. But it's basically UK SPF is the fund. It comes from the government. And then that goes to the Liverpool City Region Combined Authority, which represents the whole of Liverpool City Region. And then we access it through Wirral Borough Council. And we work really, really closely with the council, who are absolutely holding us to account on it and making sure that we deliver a really, 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 really good programme with that money. So it's more people to just go, are you doing this properly? Are people benefiting from this? And it holds us to account, and it ensures that Propeller is a consistent offer, that we're regularly delivering those workshops, that the mentorship is always in place, and that we're doing the job that we're supposed to be doing for the music creators in our region. And although that money comes from Wirral Borough Council, it actually covers the whole of the region as well. So if you're an artist, if you're one of our members in Liverpool, don't worry, you're still covered. So that's really, really great news. And that is all that's why we've been kind of quite quiet recently, is because we've just been getting all of that set up and getting ready to basically deliver lots of intense programming. So there's a few different ways that we now have to work, given that we're now funded. And one of them is we have to have a more robust registration process. So if you're an existing member already, you'll have got a message from me, which I sent through the Propeller website, which has got a link to a registration form, which is it'll take you about 10 to 15 minutes to fill out. And it just asks a few extra questions. And there is around, are you set up as a business is one of them, because we need to determine who we're supporting that is already set up as a business and who isn't. There's no right or wrong answer on any of them. Like, you can be a hobbyist. You can be somebody that's just like, I don't want to make any money from this. I just want to do it well. And you can still access Propeller support. Or you could be thinking, I don't know what I'm doing. I need to I'm bringing money in, and I need to work out how the hell I need to do my accounts. Am I registering as a sole trader, as a partnership, as a limited company? What am I doing? Like, you could be at any point along that journey and still just be like, right, I need to access some form of support, and we're here for it. We're absolutely here for it. But we just need to determine who you are and what you're doing and where you're up to. And then the other thing that's going to come with that registration process, and I know that some of our current members have been asking for this as well, is you'll get a dedicated mentor. You'll get a lead mentor out of the three of us, who is the one that knows your project inside out and is helping you push yourself along. So when you fill out that registration form, you'll get an email from me that allocates you either me, Grace, or Katie. And then I'll just flag when their next mentor sessions are, and the next time that you come in and see them in person, they'll just have a bit of paperwork for you to sign that we need to show the council to show who's accessing business support. Really, really simple, really straightforward. All of the paperwork is absolutely mental on the back end, which is what I'll be doing. But I'll be doing all of that so that when you have your mentor session, your next mentor session with one of the mentors, you don't need to worry about any of it. They don't need to ask you any questions. They're just straight in. One of the other things that is going to change as well is that everybody now, once you fill out that registration form, everybody will now have a development plan, which is basically a spruced up Google sheet. But it'll have all of your action points, all of the things that you're working towards, and we'll be tracking your progress. And that is something that the mentors will fill out and that you'll have access to view. So it'll be filled out in your mentor session. And that's a way of you keeping up to date with what it is that you're supposed to be doing. It's also just a place where we can recommend sessions for you to go to. So there'll be a list of things that we think, right, that workshop it really speaks to what you need at the moment. So it's just another reminder of what you should be doing before your next mentor session to make sure that you're pushing along. So that'll be a really, really useful tool for the mentors to keep track of where you're up to and for you to just know what you're supposed to be doing as well. What I will say is that even though you get a lead mentor, you can still have a chat with the other two as well. You might get recommended by your lead mentor that you have a chat with one of the others just for a little bit of extra advice. And maybe, it might be something that the others specialize in a little bit more. So that'll be something that you can still do. You book onto mentor sessions in the same way that we always have. You just go on the program and book on with whoever you want. The other mentors will also have access to your development plan to add in any additional action points. So your lead mentor knows exactly what's going on. So that's a bit about how things are going to change, which is really kind of really simple. They're really, really baby things that are going to change in the way that we work with yous when you think about it. But having that lead mentor is really, really key, and tracking your progress is one way that we can make sure that not only are you doing the things that you need to do for yourself, but also that we're providing resources and workshops and templates and all of the things that you need in order to do what it is that you need to do. So that's something that we'll be doing. One of the other things that we're going to be doing as well, which is now possible thanks to the funding, is a 2-day conference in January, which we're just currently in the process of programming. It's at the very, very start of January. It'll kick off the year, and it'll give you lots and lots of food for thought on how to go about your projects over the next 12 months. We're super, super excited to do that. It'll be over the course of 2 days in the live room, and then there'll be gigs in the evening as well. So that's called Beacon. Some of you might remember that we did it as an online conference during the pandemic, during lockdown. And one of the things that we focused on was, because it was you can't do any gigs. we framed it as in like, let's focus on what you can do rather than what you can't, and I think that's a really, really positive approach to stuff. Is just like, what are you able to do as individuals, as music creators, and how do you do it? And I think that is really kind of like turned into the crux of what Propeller is as well. But for this specific edition, we want to speak to really, really inspiring people that are doing amazing things in the music industry and bring them to Birkenhead and you know, allow you to meet them and hear really, really great stories. So that's really, really exciting. We'll have more news on that really, really soon. And then yeah, there's just loads and loads of programming that is now. I think what's on the Propeller website at the moment is everything up until the end of the year, and then we'll be adding more and more stuff that takes us through to March. We'll be doing it in the same way that we do, where it's uploaded to the website in 3-month increments. And then every single Monday going forward, you will get a bulletin that basically tells you and reminds you of what's happening over the next 2 weeks. So if you're somebody that struggles to look really, really far into the future and gets overwhelmed by like booking stuff, rely on this bulletin. Make sure that you're opening it and having a look at what's going on. The main kind of like way that we're structuring things is that there's a lot of regularity within the program. Is you'll get that mailer every Monday. Workshops will mostly be taking place on Mondays, Thursdays, and then sometimes at the weekend. It depends on what's going on at Future Yard as well. If there's space in the workshop room on a weekend, I'm having it. But Mondays and Thursdays are regular evenings for workshops, and also for the direct input chats, which are coming back once a month, which is basically me having a chat with somebody who's dead good and that we can all learn from. It's highlighting the really, really great work that people do, and it's also kind of getting behind artist stories and finding out why they do what they do and how they do it. The next direct input in the diary is towards the end of November with Katie Tavini, who is she's an absolute class mastering engineer. And the reason why I want to speak to her is not only does she work locally, like she's now based in Liverpool, and but it's also the fact that mastering is a real art, and a lot of people just think it's making it louder so that it's, you know, so that, and then uploading it onto, so you can upload your music onto distributors or press it to vinyl. But there's so much nuance to it, and it can make a beautifully mixed track even better. And if you look at Katie's website and have a look at the artists that she's worked with over the last few years, there'll be a bunch of your favorite albums in there for sure. And why do people choose to work with her? Why do people pick her? It's because she's bloody brilliant. So I feel really, really excited to talk to Katie about how she's ended up as a mastering engineer and what she does and how she works with artists. She works with very, very established artists through to brand new ones. So she's fantastic. And she comes highly recommended by so many people as well. So Katie's the next one. And then in December, we're speaking to the band Jen, who are a Brighton-based band who've played at Future Yard 4 times, which is epic. And they're a real favourite of ours. And they are so themselves. It is unreal in everything that they do. Like, they're so particular in how they do things. They're so particular in how they release their music, how they tour, how they put themselves out into the world. And I can't wait to speak to them. They're self-managed, but they've got like very, very choice team members around them that they've brought into their project, and they're so precious about it, rightfully so. So I can't wait to dig into, find out why they make the decisions that they make, what type of stuff they turn down, what opportunities they've absolutely ran towards, and how they've made the most out of them. And I want to talk to them about their album process as well, because they released an EP with a record label, but then made the choice to go fully independent with their album. And I want to know why. So direct inputs back. And then on Tuesdays, open mic is now once a month on the second Tuesday of every month in the live room. The only time that'll change is if somebody has booked an amazing band in the live room already, and it might shift to a Wednesday, it might shift to a Monday, but it will be mostly the second Tuesday of each month. And it's still hosted by Katie. And then around that, Katie is going to be, not only has she got her songwriting program, which will be a regular feature that you can book onto and take part in a multi-session program that she's running, but we'll also be piling on with more creative development opportunities on Tuesdays as well. So if you think about there being a bit of a regularity of when we do things, Tuesday is when we get creative. Wednesdays, once a month, we'll be doing demo listening sessions. Not enough people are booking onto the demo listening sessions. It is such an amazing opportunity to get some thoughts and feedback on tracks that you're in the process of finessing, whether it's something that's a sketch and you just want to get some inspiration, or it could be something that's a final mix that you're just like, oh, is it finished? Or it could be like a finished track and you're like, right, I'm releasing it soon. Has anyone got any ideas about what to do with it? It's going to be mostly Katie and Grace that lead those demo listening sessions. It'll be me if one of them isn't available. But it'll be mostly Katie and Grace. When we're not doing demo listening sessions once a month, Wednesday evenings are going to be mentor sessions, and then the other mentor sessions that we've got available are on Saturdays. Half our mentor sessions are online, half of them are in person. Online gives us that flexibility so that if you're busy and you can't get to the venue, or you're just like, I'm not schlepping over to Birkenhead for half an hour, don't do it. Do it online. But there's nothing that beats that face-to-face conversation. So yeah, definitely come and see us. If you can make the most out of your time at Future Yards, but rehearsals in, and there's, other things that we can do to make your time at Future Yard more beneficial, tell us, and we'll do it. But we'd love to see you at Future Yards for mentor sessions as well. We tend to, the way that we decide when they're online and when they're in person is if there's crazy stuff going on at the venue, and it doesn't make sense to have lovely chats when there's just absolute chaos and pandemonium around us. We've tried to do that in the past. It does not work. We will be able to introduce more mentor sessions with your lead mentor, more ad hoc around schedules as well, mostly online, I'd say, particularly now that Katie's working during the day for us as well. And I'm obviously in full time too. If you've got, if you need a chat during the day and we're free, we will absolutely book you in. There will be an element of flexibility around it, particularly as more and more people join Propeller. There will be more opportunities. The other thing to say is we've got a suite of industry professionals that specialize in different areas. And when we know there's an appetite for it from those mentor sessions, when we know there's a load of you that need particular digital marketing help or particular accountancy help, or there's a good few of you that wants just to have a chat with a lawyer, there will be opportunities for us to do one-to-one sessions with industry professionals. We've been building who those people are up over the last 18 months, I'd say. So once we know that there's enough of you that need them, we'll book them in. And it might be that on a Saturday or a Wednesday evening when there's a mentor in, there's also that industry professional, and you can speak to both of them. But once we need demand in order to do that, I'm not booking people in if no one's booking on. So once I know that there's a load of you that are like, right, okay, I really need help with marketing, I really, really need help with accountancy, I'll get them in for you. There's some really, really great sessions coming up. There's loads of stuff that'll be repeated and loads of stuff that'll be regular, because I know that not all of you need the same support at the same time. But there is some really, really meaty, fantastic sessions that are coming up. The first one that I want to highlight is in a week and a bit. It's basically a week on Saturday, which is a 5-hour workshop. There'll be a break, don't worry. There'll be plenty of breaks on live, all about live, looking at the whole area of your live practice. There will be a bit of a focus at some point on Future Yard, which I'm going to come to in a little bit, about how you can make the most out of us being a venue, but also being a Propeller artist. But mostly it's about live practice. It's about everything from performing to getting gigs to touring to everything in that condensed 5 hours. And hopefully that'll give you loads and loads of food for thought, and it'll give us loads of ammunition to create more sessions off the back of it, because you can tell us what you need more of. The other session that I did want to highlight quickly is also in November as well, but at the end of the month, on the 28th of November, which is, I think it's a Sunday. It's a Sunday. We're doing an all-day workshop where we'll also be dishing out free pizza. If that's going to be the thing that hooks you in. We're going to be doing that with the Musicians Union, and it will be an intense business session. And it's going to be it'll be introducing you to all of the elements that is going to help you look at yourselves as a business and not just somebody that makes boss music. So it'll be looking at really basics like business registration, basic accounting, the different setups, which one you're likely to need. And we'll also have Filmo from the Musicians Union to talk about insurance, pensions, all of that stuff, all of those beautiful things that you get when you've got a job, but not necessarily when you're a freelancer. So it's going to be making sure that you know all of the support that you can wrap around yourself in order to do this properly. And then off the back of that, there'll be more sessions as well that'll break down those areas in more detail. And also as well, Phil will be going through all of the benefits of being part of Musicians Union and stuff like that. So yeah, there's loads of stuff on the program. Just have a look and see. And also as well, if there's stuff that isn't there that you need, tell me and I'll book it in. We're really, really flexible, and I think that's the beauty of it, really, is the fact that we're a never-ending program. Is the fact that if you tell me that you need something, I can go, oh, it's a really good idea, that, and I can schedule something in. If you tell me that there's a particular voice that you need to hear from as well, now that we're funded, if there's somebody that I need to bring in from the music industry who is, a real authority on that area, it could be distribution, it could be publishing, it could be international touring, all of those different things. We can just book it. If you need it, we'll book it, basically. One of the other things that I wanted to mention as well is the development of the resource bank. Some of you will have noticed that on the website there is a resource bank and there's bits and bobs in there. This is now going to be updated once a month. There'll be at least 6 new resources that are going in there once a month. There's one already for October, and the rest of them will be live by next weekend. The most recent resource is around the revenue streams. So it's not replicating the workshop, it's just the basic information that we then discuss and talk around and put into practical situations when we're in the sessions. So the resources don't counteract the sessions. You don't go, oh, I'll have a look at that resource and I don't need to go to that session, because the session is where we put it into practice. So yeah, the resource bank will be really great, and all of the direct inputs will go in there as well. So I've also made a dedicated Propeller YouTube channel separate from the Future Yard one, where lots of things will live, and that's where all the lives will be and stuff like that. The one thing that I haven't mentioned, and I think is one of the most important things, is the fact that Propeller takes place in a live music venue, and there are plenty of opportunities for Propeller artists to play live. We are doing a lot of work to link Propeller into the booking team more directly than it has been, to make sure that Propeller artists have got a live pathway which takes them through Future Yard and beyond, because that is one area that is crucial and really, really important. And we want to ensure that, and this is where the development plans come in as well, is that we're tracking what you're doing and making sure that you're getting the opportunities that you should. And also, we want to take you from open mic through to headliners, and whether that's a headliner that we book and we put on, or it's a co-pro, or it's your own show, we want to make sure that we can do that with you. Future Yard's growing. The main room is 280 capacity. We're going to have a garden, which will have a developed live offer as well, which will be 700, and then it's going to grow on top of that as well. And there's lots of options of how we can use that live room as well. If you're nowhere near 280 tickets, we still want to make sure that you can do a gig at Future Yard and what that looks like. So we want to make sure that that is a really creative and open conversation of just how you would use that live room. One of the things that we're working on at the moment is what that package looks like, of how how much money that you'd take away and what support you'd get if you're doing your own show at Future Yard. So there'll be more news on that soon. Some of you play Future now. We had 19 Propeller artists on that bill that were picked because they were on Propeller. Not just because they're on Propeller, but because they're great as well, but because they've come through Propeller. And we want to do more of that. We want to ensure that we are prioritising Propeller artists with opportunities at Future Yard. So that's something that those of you that are doing regular mentor sessions will absolutely benefit from, because that conversation between the mentors and the booking team will be a lot more open. Yeah, I think that is kind of all that I wanted to go through at this moment in time. I'm either going to stick this up, or I'm going to watch it back, cringe, and then redo it to make sure that I've got everything in it that I need to say, and maybe that it doesn't go on for 40 minutes. So for anyone that's watching that has stuck with this, well done. Make sure that if you're already a member, that you fill in that registration form that I've sent round through the platform, so that I can then allocate you your lead mentor, and then we can just get cracking. If you're not a member yet, you'll need to fill out the really, really quick application form, which puts you onto the Propeller platform, which means that you can book onto all of the sessions. And then I'll send the registration form over to you once I've got that you've signed up, basically, with the little short form. But yeah, thank you very much. And I'll speak to you all very, very soon. See you later. Bye-bye.